Ladies and gentlemen, for the second time, but you'll never see the first time because OBS crashed as we were attempting to record Hotfix. So now we're going to do it all over again because
oh lordy lord,
it's been a nightmare. It's been a nightmare.
So the intro might be a bit quicker. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to Hotfix. It is our laser focused gaming show, and we're supported by patrons on the Patreon page. For God's sake,
there's a
go
link
over
there. There's also a link down there.
Patreon.com/hotfix. Go there. Type it in.
No,
go there.
Yeah, that way.
Type it in.
Over there.
Type it in. Win big. Become a hero. Support the show. These are the people who supported since the last show, I think. But the details got a bit screwed up, so you might be getting a secondary shout out here. I don't know. Boffy Mark, well done. Fab Zab, loving your work. Zero Joker, loving your work. Gareth, loving your work. Barbarian, loving your work. And Sister Fister, loving your work. And
yes,
not really your name, but that's fine.
So
what have you got today, Mr. Kirioth?
We're going to go straight into it, and I'm already riled up. I'm already riled up because we've already done this bit, and I'm already riled up because I was already riled up reading it, and now I'm even more riled up. It's fucking Peter goddamn Molyneux again.
Wow. Will he not just go away?
Apparently not. It was tempting to retire, is the headline of the Eurogamer article that I've taken this from. And but he didn't retire. Instead, he's still standing there spouting poo from every orifice, especially his mouth.
Poo?
I don't know why I said poo. Anyway, the start of this article. Peter Molyneux has changed. No, he hasn't. He's a new man with a new plan. No, he isn't. After what he tells me was the most difficult year of his career. As you might remember, a little while ago, there was a interview with Rock Paper Shotgun where John Walker asked Peter Molyneux, do you think you're a pathological liar?
And I got confused and I was like, did he call him a salacious liar?
Salacious would have been way better, but sadly pathological's all we got.
Salacious.
And Molyneux has now, after a year of not talking to the press, because he said he was never going to talk to the press again, but now he's talking to the press again because, of course, he is. Molyneux has said, it was one of the most bruising moments of my life. My world changed after that interview. Of course it did. That was the point where I said, this is just not going to work. To be called a pathological liar, which he said at the start.
His world changed after that interview. What about Molyneux is a man who has overpromised every single game he's made. Okay, the games in the past, like Black and White and I guess Fable and all the other stuff, Theme Hospital and whatever, they didn't provide what they were claiming to provide, but they still provided an enjoyable game, so it was kind of okay. However, his recent endeavours have been abysmal, and I don't know how it took this interview for him to realise, hey, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't go out there and say, we're going to do this, 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 and this, and I'm going to actually provide this, which is a steaming pile of petrified dog shit. And it's not this golden wonder,
the golden
monument
game of
to gaming.
Yeah.
Like Games Master. You remember that? You got the golden joystick.
I don't know. Yeah. He's an idiot. What he said is that basically he didn't get called a pathological liar. He said that he got called a pathological liar. John Walker from RPS has pointed out he didn't call him one. He asked him if he thought he was one. And there is a distinct difference. Asking someone a question is not the same as accusing someone of doing it. Although, let's face it, it is an accusation that everyone would. So has he got a warped
view on reality then? If he believes he's been called a pathological liar by this guy, he just asked him if he was.
I mean, I guess so. I mean, the fact that he seems to think that it's not his problem is very much the indication of someone who doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. But he said that the interview started out just like any other interview. You know, we'd like a word with you about Godus. So the whole of the interview was just a shock. And then afterwards, it was a really tough couple of days. You can't afford the luxury of just going in the corner and sobbing a bit because you've got an entire team of people who are just looking at you and saying, right, what does this mean? Does this mean the end of the company? Does it mean the end of you? What does it mean? It was tempting to retire, he said. Many of my counterparts from the late 80s have sat back and retired and left. I had always said this is my life and my passion, other than my family. That was a knife-edge decision. The moment that made a difference to me was when I said, what am I going to do with all this extra time, and how am I going to solve this problem if I think of this as a problem rather than emotionally react to it, which is the tempting thing to do. The solution to the problem is to do a great game rather than talk about doing a great game. Let's put those two things... Hang on. There you go. Let's put those two things together. Instead of just talking about making a great game, let's make a great game.
Wow, what a novel concept this is. He's only just arrived at this point after like 50 years in the industry or something.
It's a flash of inspiration. Rather than just talk about making Hotfix, why don't we make Hotfix.
Holy shit!
Oh my god! I'd never thought of that.
Hang on a minute. I'm just writing a promotion for this man. Good God. Who is this man? Hire him.
Someone,
Fucking hell.
I'm sorry, someone with Molyneux's experience actually saying that as a statement that is like meant to be something other than just like the blatantly obvious or just a piss take. If someone had said that as a joke, I'd be like, ha, that guy's got a bit of humour about him. No, he's actually said that as something that genuinely occurred to him. Oh, rather than just telling people I'm going to make something, why don't I actually try making it? Did that seriously never occur to him before? Is that genuinely an issue he's had where he's like, something's off. Something's off. I don't know why, but people aren't happy with what I'm doing, but I can't. Oh, it's because I never do what I say I'll do. I totally forgot about that. For God's sake. Anyway, so
there is nothing worse in my eyes than like there's a few things I absolutely hate. I hate people who don't turn up on time, right? I hate that.
Yeah.
I also hate people who say they will do something and then they do not do it. And then you're like, why haven't you done this? Oh, I didn't do it. And they give you an excuse. They are the worst kind of people in Stylosa's book.
Alternatively,
people that piss him off.
In the case of Molyneux, it's not even an excuse. It's just he says he'll do it, and then it never turns up, and then he never explains why. It's just like
you want to go back to the hotfix thing example. It's like this. It's like, all right, Kiri, we're gonna make okay, guys, we're gonna make hotfix. It's gonna be this talk show. We're gonna have a studio. We're gonna have full camera equipment. We're gonna have 20 guests. We're gonna have a live studio audience. We're gonna stream it in VR ready Oculus Rift goodness.
4K,
it's gonna be fucking
HD,
great.
3D.
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing.
Smell-o-vision.
And then you get to look at what you're looking at now. And then you're like, but before we do this, it's kickstarted, yeah? So you give me a load of money.
Yeah, that's
right,
yeah. That's the important thing.
You turn up and you're like, mate, I've kickstarted this. What the hell is going on? Why is there a bike behind you? Where's the studio audience? Like, mate, what?
I can't see.
I'm not a pathological liar.
We can't count. Can we count the 40k models as a studio audience? I've got a few back there.
That's what we spent the Kickstarter money on. Unfortunately, it was an unforeseen.
It was an unforeseen expense. We couldn't have known. We couldn't have known that it was going to happen. But
it came out of nowhere.
You know, it's just one of those things that we overpromised. We couldn't quite deliver. But on the other hand, I've got a Strike Force Ultra now, so there's always that.
Yeah.
God damn. So yeah,
we're actually going to come up with a new show now. It's called Pubcast. We're going to actually build a pub for this, and everybody gets free drinks, and we'll actually fly in people who support us on Kickstarter, and then you get to see Pubcast how it is. Oh, sorry, that was a sequel to Godus. No, Hotfix. God, Jesus Christ. Superstar. We'll get on to that in a minute, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's at this point. Let's put instead of talk about doing a great game, let's put those two things together. Actually, do a great game. That countered any childish feelings of saying, "Oh fuck it, then I'm not going to do anything again." I have to say, I've never met a child who has actually thought like that. Usually, children are too busy running around banging their heads off stuff and being excited about things to go, "Fuck it, I'm never doing anything again." But who knows what his children are like? We just can't tell. I recognise those in myself. I recognise when I put that phone down, I felt like giving up. Whenever you have one of those big reactions to anything in life, it is always that child inside of you who comes up and says, "Well, fuck it then." I'll tell you what, if my kid walks up to me and says that, I'm going to fucking
hang on
right
a minute. You don't ever... No. The issue with this guy, if he's thinking like that, well, fuck it then. It's because he knows he's done something gravely wrong, and he's finally, the penny has dropped that he's full of shite, and he should not be talking like this because it's damaging not only him, but all his employees and everybody else is connected to it, and everyone gets stained with the same filthy Molyneux brush. And I would never think to myself, right, unit lost ain't working. Oh, fuck it, I'm out. I'm leaving. Fuck it, I'm leaving. I'd be thinking, no, how can I make it better? How can I fix this? But it's not something it's always been what it was intended to be. It hasn't been this lie, which has been supposed to be better than it is. You know what I mean? But for a man of his age and with, his experience of the games that he's been involved in, to say something like that to me is so childish.
This makes me wonder how many...
he's more than double my age. Well, how old is Molyneux? I'm going to Google this shit. How old is he? He's got to be over 50, right?
Yeah, he's got to be over 50, surely. But like, how many times has that translated, that attitude of,
56.
"Oh, fuck it then"? How many times has that translated into features in his games?
Yeah,
I want to know, because I bet it's quite...
Did he just sit there and be like, "Oh fuck it, I can't"?
Yeah, it's like, okay, I want this done, and then the guy's gone, well, what we can't manage that exactly. What we can do is something similar. We can manage this, and he's gone, oh no, fuck it. On to the next thing. Don't care. Move on. Next feature. I mean, they've said people who worked at 22 Cans have said that he has that problem of, I want you to do this, and then they go away and spend ages on it, and then he comes up and goes, actually, I want you to do this instead. Or, that's not working, let's just do something completely different. Scrap all of your work on that, abandon it completely. You've worked on it for 3 weeks, but we don't want it anymore. Try something different instead. Is that something that happens with all of his shit? That attitude?
Well, we analysed this guy over and over again, didn't we, with this kind of thing? And we said we think he's scatterbrained to the extreme, and he's like, he's not somebody you want in charge of any kind of project, because he can't, as like a project lead or somebody who's in control of a vision or a creative vision for that. They have to have a framework and then stick to it, not just deviate at random points.
Well, this is the problem.
Seriously going to fuck people who are making stuff.
I don't think he has a framework of any kind. I don't think he's a project lead. I think it's just...
No, he's not a project lead.
He's
just like,
he's the ideas man, isn't he?
Yeah, he sits there and he just comes up with a crazy idea, and you're like, okay, that might be a good idea.
And you need
but
someone
if he's in
to
charge of something.
You need someone to go, Peter, we
cannot
have every citizen in this game leaving a unique and trackable life. That is not possible. That would require...
Which he did have when he was working for big publishers, but because he's on his own, and
there's no one to say no. It's just like, okay, Peter, we'll do that. And inwardly they're going, oh, for fuck's sake. Really? Okay, so he had the chance to stand back and try to get to the core of what the journalist was saying. Like, the journalist being John Walker. Pretending that you don't know his name is kind of funny, because I'm assuming he really does remember that. Which was, you're over-promising and under-delivering. What's the solution? Here, a year later, is the solution.
Oh.
The solution is Godus Wars, a real-time strategy spin on the original Godus that's out now on Steam as an early access title, because of course it fucking is. It's a free update for Godus owners, but you can buy it separately. For $10.99 you get Godus and Godus Wars. Right now, Godus Wars is a basic, of course it is, player versus computer mode, of course it is, that charges you with conquering the world and battling rival gods for control over continents. Like so many games right now, a card system is included. Cards are used for god powers, but you need to build up belief as you're playing to use them. The idea is that Godus Wars paves the way for multiplayer, which will then lead to the God of Gods feature that Molyneux promised would feature... That's a very badly constructed sentence. Lead to the God of Gods thing that Molyneux promised, which would feature Brian Henderson. And Henderson is one of the deities in Godus Wars. You'll encounter him late game. So, he has the interview with Rock Paper Shotgun. You can chart the timeline really easily. Interview, Godus controversy. That's the thing that kicked it all off. Godus is a mess. It's a state. It's an absolute clusterfuck. It's not worked. It's totally broken. There's one guy now working on it, a guy from the community who has been brought onto the team to fix it, because Molyneux and his team have all but abandoned it, and instead are talking about their new game, which hilariously, I can't even remember what that was called. The one that was replacing Godus. I have no idea what it was. And in fact, I don't know if he ever got anywhere with it, because I think that was supposed to be another Kickstarted title. Of course, who's going to give him any money now?
Fuck,
so this happens.
I'm so angry. I don't
paper
listen, this
whoa.
fucker makes me so angry. I just got to get that out there. I don't even know the guy, but the rage is unreal. He might be a nice guy, although.
So Rock Paper Shotgun, they do their interview with him, where the opening line is, "Are you a pathological liar?" Which is
gracious.
At the time, I was like, that's a bit forward. That's not on. I don't like that. Looking back on it, I couldn't give less of a shit at this point, because it's just getting worse. He said he wasn't going to talk to the press anymore. What he said was that he would only talk to the press once he's done something. So it does.
But what he meant is, I'll only talk to the press once I've actually got another game I want to promote.
When I'm trying to sell something, yeah. So he said, after the within 24 hours of the RPS interview, he just said, no, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not talking to the press. After a couple of days, I came up with a sensible strategy. I would just be a coder and a designer, and I would talk to the press perhaps about something I had done and had released, but not talk to the press about what I am doing, because that is clearly not working. And I would redefine my relationship with those people. Now, of course, Godus Wars has been released in early access because it's still impossible for Molyneux to release a completed game. It's apparently, it's not a replacement for Godus. Oh no. No, it's not a replacement for Godus, which is why if you search for Godus on Steam and click Godus, it only allows you to buy Godus Wars, which includes the original Godus. But the fact is, you cannot buy Godus by itself anymore. That is literally
May I
impossible.
bring you back to the pathological liar statement from earlier on?
Well, yes.
It is not replacing Godus. Godus is just not available for sale anywhere else, and this is the game we are now making with the Godus name.
Yeah, it's
but you get it for free.
We're not replacing it, but you just can't buy it by itself anywhere. You can only buy it by buying Godus Wars, which is not replacing Godus. It's not replacing it, but you just can't get hold of the original anywhere at all. It's not for sale. But it's not replacing it. So this brings up just quite a big issue, really. He's said, and I can literally quote him here. I would talk to the press, perhaps about something I had done and had released, but not talk to the press about what I am doing because that is clearly not working. Okay, I have read that off verbatim. That is exactly what it says. In fact, I've highlighted it. I'll even go back to the desktop so you can quite clearly see. That bit in grey, that is what I've just read. I will talk to the press but perhaps about something I've done and have released, but not talk to the press about something what I'm doing. About something what I'm doing? No, I got that wrong. But that is clearly not working. You get the gist anyway. I'd already said it correctly. Whatever. The game's in early access. It's not finished. It's not done. The game ain't done. It's not released. It's out, but it's not been officially released in like the here's a finished game way. This is not like when fucking XCOM 2 is going to be released tomorrow. That's a finished game. That's done. It's not early access. It's not in progress. It's not being worked on. It is a completed package. It is a complete product for sale in its entirety with nothing in the way of further development to be done apart from possibly expansions, which don't really count, okay? They're not the same as early access. They never have been and never will be. This fucking game is not finished. It is not something he has done. It is not something he has completed on. It is something that he is actively working on. So he's saying that he's not going to talk to the press about something that he's doing because it's clearly not working. That's exactly what he's fucking doing. In the same thing, it's like Godus Wars is here. It's in early access.
Personalities going. Yeah.
That means it's not finished. That means you're still working on the fucking game. So how can you say?
If you give an interview like that with two like conflicting quotes there, I will not do this. Hang on, I'm doing this. It's like I will not be a pathological liar. I will not bullshit people. And then in the same interview, you're saying this. You're doing that, and you're only here giving this interview because you want to get eyes onto Godus Wars. Exactly. Let's be honest. What you need to do is go away, right? If you wanted to make another game, is make your Godus Wars game without telling us in advance, and then just turn up and go, here's my new game with a list of features, because then people won't know what crazy features you fucking dreamt up that you haven't implemented, and they'll take the game for what it is, and then it'll be, ooh, Molyneux's actually back on track now. He's actually produced a game which says, well, it does what it says in the tin. Bronze seal. That's what it says in the tin, right? And
it is Ron Seal, yeah.
If you buy this game, you are a fucking idiot because this guy does not deliver.
No,
I'm all for giving somebody a second chance, but I'm not giving you a 10th chance. That's just taking the piss.
Yeah, I've said this before. In a way, it really does gut me to have to shit talk Peter Molyneux. Populous was fucking awesome. I loved Populous. I've still got the original, like an original Populous CD somewhere in the case and everything. Dungeon Keeper is one of my all-time favourite games. I will not hear a word said about Dungeon Keeper. If you didn't like Dungeon Keeper, you can get the fuck out. I don't even care who you are, just leave. I absolutely love that game. But he's not making those games anymore. He's making Godus. Godus was shit. It was just shit. It was a popular style concept, which was enough to make me happy. And then when I played it, it lacked any depth whatsoever. There was nothing there. I played it when they had the first alpha out for the Kickstarter. And I was like, this is really boring. This is really dull. It's just endless clicking. This is not fun. I then played it a year later. And you can actually see it on the channel. I think it's called Where Is Your Godus Now, I called the video, which is one of my video titles. And it was exactly the fucking same. It hadn't changed. The UI worked, which it hadn't before, but that was it. After like a year of development, that's completely unacceptable. And now he comes back again, having been shit on from a great height by everybody because Godus was so awful and just so worthless. And his idea of trying to get you back is to say, hey, you remember Godus, that complete failure of a game that totally fucked up my career for a while and caused me to lapse into silence for literally 12 months? and speak to no one from the press. Well, we've taken it and we've put combat in it. But you can only play versus the computer at the moment. Can I have £11, please? I'm sorry, what? That's his grand plan of trying to get people to trust him again. His grand plan is to take a game that was so beyond shit compared to what he was promising that it earned him like the hatred of every gamer that used to look up to what he did. And his way of gaining you back is to just give you the same game, but with combat.
He has to be so disconnected from reality. It's just unbelievable at this point. You've got a brand called Godus, which is in the dirt. You've got a name, Peter Molyneux, in the dirt. So you put both of them together to try and renew them somehow with an interview. I mean, there's a quote at the bottom of this interview, which is dead comedy. This is comedy gold. He says, "This interview does not mean me being back in the press. I don't have time to be honest with you. I'd much rather keep hunkered down."
But that's exactly what he's doing.
That's what he's doing in the article, isn't it?
Because the thing is, it's not even. He's talking about how it's like, oh well, I'm only going to talk to the press when I've got something to announce or I've released something. Half the interview isn't talking about the game. It's not talking about Godus Wars. It's not talking about the improvements made. It's not talking about any of that shit. It's talking about how upset and hurt and on the verge of quitting he was when he got called out for being a fucking waste of space.
Well, this is how he counters that. This is how he explains that. We're working on another project called The Trail. I'm not going to talk about that at all because this whole thing about me overpromising got so caustic that it actually worked as a negative. My shoulders are fairly broad and you can send me death threats or whatever you like. It's the team that hurt me more than anything else. The feelings people had here when they saw the press. We're not talking about The Trail at all. I'll only talk about it when it is released.
I just
and then the interviewer says, "Hang on, you've just announced it though," and then he says, "If I talked about it, you would see exactly the person you recognised. I would be promising you, and I would be shouting about it. When we launch it in whatever guise we launch it, I'll happily talk about it. It's almost an impossible urge for me. I did some coding on the trail as well." What? Okay then. I'm just closing the article down.
I mean, this also, all of this stuff. It kind of as well comes back to just the sheer unreliability of the guy. So they also mention partway through the article, because it's a bloody long article, I'll link it in the description so you can read it. It's very interesting, but it will make your blood boil. They actually make the point here, what of Brian Henderson, the god who Peter Molyneux forgot? Worryingly, he has yet to receive any money from 22 Cans. Now, we covered him last week because of that game bundle, where people were like, "Oh, give this guy 10 grand because he made Peter Molyneux once," which I still think is bullshit, and I would not urge anyone to do that. But 22 Cans maintains Scott's role as God of Gods. We'll have to wait until the feature is released. But Molyneux says, with the release of Godus Wars, there is now a clear path to multiplayer and Brian's involvement in the game. There is no time frame for all this happening, however. 22 Cans won't even commit to a 2016 launch when I press. Also, he's already in the game. Further up in the article, we actually mentioned, we read it out, the fact that Brian Henderson is part of Godus Wars. He is a AI god that you end up fighting. So he's in the game, but he's still not receiving anything from it. He's not actually getting anything for his name being in the game.
We're building up to that. We're building up, bloke. We're building up.
Oh, God. So,
this is just terrible. This will make no money and it'll just cease development. It'll just be crap.
Well, this is...
And then the trail will come out and it'll just be shit. There'll be videos on YouTube of people slamming it for whatever the hell it turns out to be.
It's got to be this
probably
last
a rip-off
bit,
of The Witness, I reckon.
It's got to be something,
It'll be something like that. It'll be some indie game rip-off.
This last bit just makes me... This just makes me kind of convinced that Peter...
You got to the point where you're so angry... It just becomes funny. That's the best way. You're just like,
so. This is the bit that's making me kind of smirk. Henderson tells me that after Eurogamer's article was published last year, 22 Cans started emailing him with updates on Godus. They perhaps went a little overboard. It was every week, Brian tells me over Skype, and they were giving me so much information I didn't even need. It's like they were responding to how little they gave me before and put it on to the complete opposite extreme and gave me all this information and updates every week. I said, just tell me what I need to know when you feel like you need to tell me. So they'll have just given him everything. It's like, we tweaked the AI of this particular thing, or we've added an extra tree here.
Those,
I bet it'd be funny. During this time, 22 Cans asked Brian whether he'd be interested in making music for an upcoming documentary on the studio. Oh god. He politely declined, citing mounting college work. Then 4 months of silence. So they've gone from never talking to him ever, giving him updates on every facet of the game, which he didn't. He's not a game developer. He just won a shit competition.
Ludicrous.
That's ludicrous.
He won a shit competition.
And then it's gone down to 4 months of silence until last month when 22 Cans got in touch with Brian again to reveal the upcoming launch of Godus Wars. He gave his blessing to appear in the game as a deity. The impression I got from Brian, though, is one of indifference. I'm going to be completely straight, he says. To be perfectly honest, I'm almost past the point of caring about this whole thing, you know? It's just been a complete balls up, to be frank. I'm just going to ask them, how many of you are actually still passionate about this? I'd rather they did it with interest in it, or just didn't do it at all. But we'll see when I talk to them. I bet you don't want to ask that question, really, because you know what the answer's going to... One guy will be like, I still care. I still care. No, I don't care either. Fuck it.
Nobody on this planet cares about Godus. Nobody will buy the game. I could make a game.
The thing is,
and have more sales.
We've got to be fair here, bloke. I haven't played Godus Wars yet. I'm gonna fucking play it after we've recorded this, but I haven't played Godus Wars yet. It could actually not be that bad, but I'm betting it's a pile of shit, and I'm looking forward to seeing what that's like. Because, well, I was gonna say it can't be worse than Godus was, but Godus was so bad. I don't know if anything could be. I don't know. It could be. It could be worse. We'll just have to wait and find out. You might think, though, that is the end of the Peter Molyneux story.
It never ends.
It never ends. It never ends. It's a never-ending story of idiocy and bullshit.
I used to like that when I was a kid.
Never-ending story. It was a bit... You know where... It was only pointed out to me a few weeks ago, and I can't remember how the conversation came up. You know the horse that the kids got?
Yeah.
Did you know that was a sentient horse? That was an actual, like...
I remember. No, I just thought it was a...
In the book that the film was based off, the horse speaks and talks. It is a sentient horse, which sounds like, oh, okay, that's a bit weird. Until you remember, how did the horse die, bloke? It fucking got sucked into a swamp and drowned, didn't it? In Neverending Story. He had to leave it in the swamp because it was just sinking.
Oh my god.
So that was already a fairly horrific scene. But when you consider that actually the horse was a living sentient creature with emotions and thoughts, it wasn't just a horse. The horse was like a living, thinking creature that could communicate and have conversations with the kid.
I'm dying in a swamp, please help me.
But no, he just gives up. He lets the kid go on alone and then dies in the swamp. A living, like, thinking creature just dies. It's a lot dark. I mean, the horse dying in the first place is pretty dark in the film. But then when you think about the fact that he was sentient, it was like basically a human brain in a horse body, that's pretty fucking horrific. Because the horse just is like, you're going alone. And then just dies. Just gone. Anyway. I don't know what reminded me of that at all. I completely forgot how we got to that. 22 count. Back to this. Anyway, the never-ending story.
Innit?
The never-ending story of Molyneux.
Oh no!
So you might think that it's all over, but it isn't, because 22 Cans still got a few tricks up the sleeves. They've had to pull controversial Godus Wars microtransactions after player outcry. So 22 Cans has pulled a controversial microtransaction in the recently released Godus Wars after a player outcry. Godus Wars, the real-time strategy spin on Peter Molyneux's god game Godus, launched yesterday on Steam as an early access title after months of silence from 22 Cans. It is a free update to existing owners of Godus and the game's Kickstarter backers, but costs £11 otherwise. Remember that, it costs 11 quid. It didn't take long for players to discover that after completing one continent, Godus Wars presents a microtransaction. You have to buy the second continent for $4.99. All this in an early access game that costs 11 quid, which is $14.99 actually on the US version of Steam.
This is unbelievable. Holy shit. So already it's a disaster. It's a disaster anyway, but now it's just even worse because it's like, the game is a fucking microtransaction.
I cannot comprehend
the
sheer idiocy.
I can't. Please help me. Please help me. Please help me. I'm asking for help right now. I fucking need help, bloke. This ain't real. Am I asleep?
I mean, let's just also, because the rage isn't really enough yet. 22 Cans has made the additional continents free. Here's a statement from CEO Simon the fucking wanker Phillips. That's his official nickname, just in case you're wondering. It's been brought to our attention that the extra content being a premium add-on really isn't a popular choice. Well, fancy that. Whilst we think that it does represent good value, especially considering that Godus Wars has been delivered as a free update to hundreds of thousands of users, a free update to a shit game that you fucked up to begin with, and the lower purchase price of the main game, we understand previous Godus owners' frustrations with this. Therefore, based on your feedback, the extra content will be available to all free of charge. Apologies for the frustrations, and we hope you enjoy playing. Now, I want to point something out here at the end there. Apologies for the frustrations.
Bro, look at this comment. It's the best. The top comment that just says, ha ha ha, who saw this one coming? Oh yeah, everyone. That's crazy.
Apologies for the frustrations is the shit icing on the shit cake that's been covered in shit. Because you know what that means. Apologies for the frustrations. It's not an apology for the fact that they tried to charge like a quarter of the price of the game again to unlock content for an update to a game that they completely fucked over in the beginning. They're saying
this is crazy.
What they've said there, that is the ultimate condescension method of apologising. Because what you do is you don't apologise for the action. You don't say, I'm sorry we tried to charge for this. That was clearly a dickhead thing to do. What they've said is, oh, I'm sorry you found it frustrating.
Yeah, I'm sorry you found it frustrating.
I'm sorry it was your problem. I'm sorry that you had an issue with it. We don't have an issue with it. We didn't do anything wrong. I'm sorry that you got it wrong. That's what that means. And that is absolute fucking cunt behaviour.
Dross. I like that word.
That is
dross.
Terrible. That is totally shit. And I cannot even comprehend how someone could look at the events of the last 2.5 years and then think that's a good idea. What planet are these idiots live? Are they even on Earth? What is going on?
Like, they can't. They. There's no way they could avoid the.
Are they human beings?
There's just no way they could have avoided the negative reaction this game's had and Molyneux's had and everybody else has had. It's just crazy.
It's just impossible.
There's another quote here from a guy off their forums, and he just says, I don't know if I should burst out laughing or start crying. It's one thing to shoot yourself in the foot multiple times. It's another to stab yourself in the head with a pair of scissors. And then another guy's like, well, hang on, let's do the math. The game costs $14.99. The second continent costs $4.99. There's actually 7 continents in the game, according to the store page. Assuming there's no other microtransactions and no discount later on, that's $29.94 of DLC, which means it'll ultimately cost you $44.93 for the entire game. Let's not talk about this guy again.
I can't even. Oh God. God, it's terror. I just no. I've honestly. You say that I've run out of things to say about Peter Molyneux at this point, and 22 Cans. There's nothing more that can possibly be said. We've gone from being reasonably frustrated with the way they handled things to being incredibly pissed off. I'm now all the way out. I'm like, I've gone through the waterfall of lava, and I'm now in like a nice little cove, a little bay with nice blue seas and golden sands, and there's just a sign that says I don't give a fuck cove, and that's where I'm currently swimming around. I just don't care anymore. I don't care what he does. Don't give him any money. Don't read anything he says. Don't listen to anything he says. Don't play any of his games. If he disappeared tomorrow, I wouldn't notice. Not only would I not notice, if someone brought it to my attention, I'd go, that would be it. That's all. That is all I have left for these people now. Fuck them, all of them.
I can't believe that. I just can't. Jesus, I've closed all the tabs down with his name on. I'm not talking about him anymore.
Anyway, let's go on to something a bit. I don't know whether it's funnier or whether it's just terrible. Ant Simulator developer accuses partners of stealing money for booze and strippers.
Sounds like you didn't lost this stuff.
It's like we're living in the 80s. What is going on? It's just like Wolf of Wall Street or something. So, Ant Simulator, not to be confused with SimAnt, has been cancelled after its lead developer accused his partners of stealing company funds for alcohol and exotic dances. The partners, however, have denied such accusations and are planning to seek legal action of their own. It all started when Ant Simulator developer Eric Tereshinsky posted a YouTube video explaining that after more than a year's work on the delightfully named title, he found himself legally strong-armed into cancelling his crowdfunded game after discovering that his now ex-business partners had stolen money from the company to spend it on alcohol and exotic dancers. I recently found out that my ex-business partners were secretly stealing company money, Tereshinsky lamented in the now viral video. What? Lamented in the now viral video? Come on, you're
These
okay.
people, who the hell do they... Well, I mean, it's dead, isn't it? Written website's dead.
True.
It's all about, that YouTube video.
It's all about HOTFIX. They had secretly spent the overwhelming majority...
But HOTFIX relies on them.
Sure. of both our Kickstarter money and the Ant Simulator investment money on liquor, restaurants, bars, and even strippers.
Hard liquor.
As a result of this action... Tereshinsky decided to resign from developer Itiski. What is with the names? Stop being foreign. As he no longer wanted to be associated with its co-founders, Tyler Montz and Devon Staley. Tereshinsky explained that the problem was worse than simply losing the few grand Itiski had raised through a Kickstarter for video game dev tutorials and Ant Simulator beta codes. The developer said that he cannot legally release Ant Simulator outside of Itiski, or at least he doesn't think he can. My ex-business partners directly said to me, if you release Ant Simulator without us, I will sue you. A year and a half ago, I signed an LLC agreement with them. I trusted them, and they had been my friends for 11 years. Resigning and cancelling Ant Simulator is really the only option available to me right now. I'm very pissed off that I lost money. I lost over a year in work, and I lost a game that I loved and I was proud of, and I was really looking forward to releasing on Steam and PS4. It was supposed to be my first big step in really taking a shot at video games as a career. But I have to start over now. So there's kind of more, but it's all very he said, she said.
It's childish. This is like you see this a lot, don't you? With like it's like YouTube comments, bro. This is what this is. It's like childish idiocy around games development, and you get it every now and again. It's not an immature industry anymore, but it can attract immature people, I think, who don't have very developed social abilities. So when they go into things like this, like, yeah, let's make a game, and then they realise that they're just cabbages, and then
this is actually developed a bit further than I thought it had.
Well, the worst thing is then it just gets slammed everywhere all over the news sites as well. Yeah. So then it highlights the fact it's a childish industry to some extent. It's not, though.
But it's not. It's really not. Well, this isn't the actual article that I thought it was. I thought I'd saved a different article. This has got more information than the one that I originally read, but then lost and then found again. But I didn't. I found a more up-to-date one. So this one actually, it has the alternative view, because when I was reading about this the other day, it didn't have the alternative view. It just had Tereshinsky saying, you know, they'd taken all the money, they spent it all on booze and strippers. What? Don't lick strippers, that's bad. And that was it. And it was like, we are awaiting a statement. A statement is here. So, I don't know why this is Montz saying this. I don't know why he's painting that picture, but the reality is that anything that was spent in a bar or restaurant was very reasonable in nature when you look at any business, including video game companies, Montz explained. It was part of our operating budget. It's not anything that was excessive. It was all reported to the IRS. The picture he's painting about that is 100% bullshit. The pair also noted that they put roughly $5,000 of their own money into the company, more than Tereshinsky ever did. The pair said things were going well until Tereshinsky decided to close the company's business accounts shortly after Thanksgiving. This is when Tereshinsky claimed to have discovered the ill-spent funds. He took control of everything, Montz said. He took control of not only all the company's physical property, our bank accounts, our social media accounts, our website, which he changed to just our faces for some unknown reason.
Oh my god.
That was all him. This all started to take place right after the game started to get really popular late in the summer. My personal theory is he wanted to take it all for himself and cut us out of it. We made it clear that we weren't going to let him do that because we had a moral and legal right not to. So where did the money go? Montz said it was spent on independent contractors who worked on the game. We paid all those contractors as well, Montz said. He's making this claim that we spent all this money on expensive entertainment, and that's completely false. We paid these people who worked for us. Staley estimated this to be roughly 9 or 10 people. Roughly 9 or 10? What? Make a choice.
Roughly. roughly. What
I
the
think he
hell?
wanted to create this outlandish story, grab headlines, and make us look terrible, Mons said. So far, it's working for him. So, really, I mean, I don't know what to make of this, because it is very much just, these guys fucked me over and they took all the money. And then the other guys are gone, this guy fucked us over and took all the money. We'd
Yeah.
spent the money on contractors, but he's saying we spent it on strippers, but we didn't. We spent it on
You
actually
spent
developing
it
the
on
game.
strippers. It's like
I mean, it does sound like the kind of... It sounds like the kind of 70s plot to some sort of...
like it sounds like Scarface's plot. It's like we're gonna deal coke. We're gonna become a pimp. Although he's not a pimp, is he? Well, I know he is to some extent. And then we're just gonna. This is stupid.
It's crazy,
what
isn't
the
it?
hell?
It's really bizarre.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever come across a story like that. I mean, I know we've had plenty of stuff with Kickstarter failing, like devs leaving or quitting, or some sort of emergency causing development to stop, or even bankruptcy, or running out of money. Hell, even Double Fine ran out of cash when they were making Broken Age. But this is something altogether more ridiculous.
It's only really like small amounts of money though. The Kickstart was only for $4,000, so it's not like it was some sort of
it's
like mega $100,000 thing.
This seems to be one of those things where it's not so much the money that's been lost that is the drive. It's the ridiculousness of the story where it's like they spent it all on strippers. I mean, the thing is, you could easily come up with something a bit more believable than that. This is why I'm, in a way, kind of almost edging towards thinking that the guy who originally came out and said, we're not making the game anymore because they took all the money, spending it on whiskey and strippers is such an old joke. It's like such a stupid... It's something that we would say to each other, where it's like, if one of us wasn't able to make it at a certain time to record Hotfix, for instance, it would be like, oh, you're just going to visit a stripper or something. It's like a daft joke, isn't it? Where did you put that money? Oh, I spent it on booze and heroin. It's like a daft joke between either friends or like such a generic accusation is the only way to put it. It's generic, ain't it?
It could be something better than that.
It seems like it shouldn't be real because it's such a unimaginative thing to do. And
he spent it on Fabergé eggs and Ferrero Rochers. That'd be a better
Ferrero Rocher. Oh god!
Have you seen the big one you could get for fucking Easter? It's like a massive one. It's like 10 quid, but it's a massive Ferrero Rocher. It's just massive. Just Ferrero, like I'm googling this shit.
Ferrero
I've seen
Rocher
it in co-op,
Easter
man.
egg.
No. It's just a massive Ferrero Rocher. It's not an Easter egg.
What? Just Ferrero Rocher's quality. I've googled giant Ferrero Rocher.
I just went massive.
125 grams. Oh my god, that's massive. Oh, it's not available. Boo. I want it.
I've seen him in the flesh. Man.
They're real. They're real.
They're real. Christ, get me off this topic.
Let's go on to something better, something more fun. How one Counter-Strike player tricked over 3,000 cheaters into getting banned.
This is great.
Players have been using and this is from Eurogamer, as you can tell. Players have been using hacks to cheat at first-person shooters for years. Now the tables have turned. Counter-Strike Global Offensive player Android L tricked over 3,000 cheaters into getting banned by releasing ingenious fake hacks. Android L created free-to-download hacks that advertised a variety of services, including an aimbot, bunny hop, and wall hacks for use in Valve's hugely popular competitive first-person shooter. But unknown to those downloading the hack, Android L slipped in features that would ensure a Valve anti-cheat ban, or a VAC ban. The hacks edit the player's view angles to those that should be impossible. Here's one example, as you can see. That's ridiculous. The hacks also constantly give the player infinite ammo and health. The infinite health and ammo was just another way to ensure the user gets banned, Android L explained in a post on the Counter-Strike Global Offensive subreddit. Things like the health/ammo are all server-side, so editing them client-side won't actually do anything, but it will let VAC know that you're trying to change them and they will ban you for this. Oh, it's genius. Over the course of 2 weeks, Android L released 3 hacks. The first 2 worked on a timer that triggered the features VAC would spot only after a certain time, such as 10 PM the day after release. The third hack, however, triggered a VAC ban as soon as users opened it and joined a game. Android's third hack was downloaded over 3,500 times, making it the #1 hack on one of the most popular video game hack forums in total. Android L's fake hacks were downloaded over 5,500 times. Some of the responses from players who were banned are just precious. Let's see this. This really is a great hack, but I fucked up and got hit by an untrusted. And I got banned on casual and it didn't even work properly. This is very inconvenient as my friend had just re-gifted it to me. Oh, I wonder why it had to be re-gifted. God damn.
I like this. This is somebody who obviously likes the game and has just gone in and thought, I'm going to waste a load of people and just cleaned them out.
This is using your powers for good, isn't it? It's like, I know how to make stuff. And I know how to get people fucked for doing things they shouldn't. I will combine these things and get a load of people ruined.
I've got a business idea. I reckon, right? We could come up with a hack, right? And all it is just a text file, and it just says "winner" in it, right? That's all it is. That's the entire hack. You buy it off me. It costs 10 quid, but it's just a placebo basically, and we'll call ourselves placebo hacks. So you'll come in, you'll think you're buying a hack, and I'll say, to make yourself better at Counter-Strike, you must put this on your desktop. So you put the text file onto your desktop. Then you go and play Counter-Strike. You get the placebo effect. You just become better. And that will cost you 10 quid.
Is there not a danger people would create their own notepad file that simply said winner?
If it's not from placebohacks.com,
it's not legitimate.
No.
And therefore it wouldn't work.
In fact, no, I'll go next level. It's not actually a text file. It's an image.
Level.
It's a PNG with like transparent layers and watermarks, which
just
you
make
get
it
Photoshop.
Just make it a constant looping GIF of that Unit Loss premium video you did years ago of all the jets and the money falling all over the place.
You must full screen this on your other monitor while playing the game anymore. Jesus, I like this. This is good though. Good story.
It's fantastic, and I think some of the best things are the reactions from people where. I mean, this comment is great. People still play Counter-Strike. Impressive. It's been at least 12 years since I picked that game up. Thanks for your contribution. What are you fucking talking about? And this...
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Counter-Strike Global Offensive has not been out for 12 years, you cabbage.
No. It's also ridiculously popular. How have you failed
But he's played 1.6, so I mean, I'm a professional. It's the same game.
Sadly, I actually trim the beard so it doesn't go onto the neck, so I can't do the proper neckbeard thing, but I could.
Well, I actually played it at 1.6.
This guy though, this guy has an alternative view on this, which is wrong. I liked the sound of this story at first, but this reeks a bit of a honey trap. You tempt people to cheat, then get them banned for cheating. I can see the arguments for and against, but I really don't see these actions as 100% ethical. Do you know what else isn't ethical? Cheating or hacking.
Has not tempted them. He's not tempted them to cheat though. They'd gone to these websites to buy the top cheat, and it just happened his was there.
Yeah, they went. They
would
went
have bought any other cheat.
They went to the most popular website for hacking, for hacking games, for hacking Counter-Strike, with the intention of downloading a hack. Instead of paying for a hack, they got a free one instead that happened to get them banned.
Allow me to explain entrapment. Entrapment would be Kirioth has no intention to go with this hooker and do a load of blow. However, he's walking down the street.
Say that.
Suddenly, yeah, you say that. We don't know. We don't know what's going on in his head. We pull up in a van, right? We throw him into the van, and there is his hooker and the blow on the side. And then he's got a decision, a dilemma. And so he does it. Well, that's entrapment because he had no intention of doing that anyway. It's a great example of entrapment. However, if Mr. Kirioth had actually gone into a brothel with coke or something in his back pocket and went to the reception, I don't know how these places operate. I've never been in one, funnily enough.
And then
says,
ask them to hang your coat up, get a ticket for it, obviously.
And then he's like, yes, I would like to use the facilities. And then he walks into the top-rated room. That is not entrapment. he was going to that establishment for services.
Yeah, it's
The van example is entrapment.
it's distinctly different. I can't get behind that anyway because they were not forced to go to the website. They were not forced to download the
No,
hacks.
it's stupid.
They actively sought them out. If it was a case of he put up like, I don't know, like a package of files, and it was like, here is how to get better at Counter-Strike. And one of them was some kind of mental executable or something that inserted it into the Counter-Strike folder and then fucked them over from there. That would be bullshit. Like, that would be absolutely unacceptable because that is, engineering it so that they did something that they were not intending to do. They didn't do that. They were like, I want to hack Counter-Strike, and then they went and got a hack, and then they got banned for hacking Counter-Strike. It's really that simple. Easy peasy. And if he wants to do it again, then do, because it's funny as hell. And after Molyneux, we could do with more stories about people getting banned for being cheating wankers. Since apparently he has never been banned for being a cheating wanker, but he should be. Banned from the industry. Anyway. There's been a PC port, bloke, of your favourite game.
Oh yeah. I love this shit, bloke.
Tales of Symphonia. I know you like it. I honestly had no idea what this was. There's going to be people going,
You mean you never played Tales of Symphonia?
No, I never played it. I didn't know what it was. I've gone over to Reddit, and I've no idea why, because there's not really any information in this post, but I know all the information anyway. Basically, Tales of Symphonia, old game. Been ported to the PC, finally available on Steam, which is nice. Except it was the shittest, laziest port known to man. So the internal resolution was still locked at 720p. I don't think it could run any faster than 30 FPS either. The text and stuff was totally broken, like it was mangled. The localization didn't work either. So someone posted screenshots of the game in the localization for French, but they'd used the wrong character coding. You know, there's different coding for...
Yeah,
you
get that Unicode shit. Yeah.
They used the wrong one, which didn't have the letters for French. So French letters were just replaced with, like, nonsense. Like a capital A with a line on top, which doesn't mean anything in the middle of the word that it was supposed to be in. Some of the localization just wasn't implemented, so you'd have options in... French or German, but then one word would just be in English. Even though there's a word for that in the language, obviously, there usually is. That's how languages work. There's at least a close approximation. But no, they didn't know how to implement that, apparently. Totally broken. They can't fix it. Oh no, what a shame. Not only that, but it was kind of... Well, how do you phrase this politely? You could assume that all of this was down to it being a severe problem to fix these issues, it being some sort of time constraint, there being some sort of confusion, something that caused it to be impossible for them to say, I don't know, sensibly do the frame rate or make it so it doesn't just get stuck at 30 FPS. They maybe could have done something whereby the localization wasn't totally shit. For instance, apparently the localization files are just openly accessible. You can just open them and do what you like with them. So you could change German into Klingon if you like, because you can just edit them as much as you want. There's been no attempt to hide them away or encode them or do anything like that. Now it could just be, and the buttons are broken as well in the game. So when it shows you the controls, it mixes, I believe it's PlayStation controls and Xbox controls. So it'd be like
it's a sort of bastardized controller.
So yeah, it would be like it will show the B and the Y and stuff of an Xbox controller,
like a triangle.
But then on the other side, it will show the thumb pad from a PlayStation 2 controller, because they're totally shit. Now, all of this could be down to severe staff shortages, running out of time. Oh no, this thing has got to be out. It's got to be out on Steam in an hour. We're just going to have to leave it. Except, I mean, that's not how it works, so even that's stupid. Except, there's a guy on the NeoGAF forums, and his name is Durante, or Durant, or Durant.
You probably know this guy, because he is the guy who fixed Dark Souls.
He fixed Dark Souls in, I believe it was 22 minutes after it was ported out, and it was just, the resolution was totally crap, and it was all locked, and it was all shitty. He fixed it in about 22 minutes. He's at a new record for this one, because he fixed the resolution in 14 minutes and fixed the video issues in 8 minutes. So a guy who does not work for Bandai Namco or Koei Tecmo or any of the people who are involved in actually porting Tales of Symposium, Tales of Symphonia, sorry, a guy who's not involved in any of that, he's just a dude sitting on NeoGAF, fucking fixed the game in 14 minutes. Now, that is impressively terrible from the port. Like, that is a really shit port. And for the problems to be that simple that some guy... I mean, I'm not saying he's got no skill in doing this. Obviously he has. But he's not working for the developer or the publisher or any of that shit. He wasn't part of the crew that ported the game. He's just someone who did it in his own time in 14 minutes. You're telling me that someone couldn't have done that in the company that owns the goddamn game? It's just terrible. And I don't understand why companies still think that they can take a game, do a totally shit port, throw it onto Steam, and do they think people will go, well, it's a totally shit port, but that's all right. Whatever, don't care. Because it never happens. It never. People always get shirty about it.
Yeah, again, it's all similar to Molyneux, isn't it? It's like, how can they be so delusional that they can think they can get away with this when you just can't get away with anything? I always say, don't I, the internet's the biggest bullshit detector, and it is. You can't take the piss, especially when it's so, like, the issues are so evident like this. And this is one of the most horrific ports I've ever seen. I mean, I was just looking at screenshots, and when it shows you the Durante's got the game running at like 5,120 by 2,880, and then he's got it running at 1440p. It looks... I mean, okay, the graphics still look shit, but it looks nice and smooth and crisp. It isn't this pixelated nightmare because it had a locked internal resolution, which I'm guessing took about 5 seconds for him to... Well, it probably took him more time to find where it was, and then took him about 5 seconds to just turn it off or whatever the hell the thing was. It's just stupid.
It's terrible, and it's like I just don't understand how it keeps happening because it's
always these Japanese companies, isn't it, which have the dodgy ports time and time again.
Yeah, but it's,
although Dragon's Dogma was fine, I played that and that was fine.
This is the thing as well. After the utter fiasco that was Batman Arkham Knight, like at this point, how can any company think that it's a good idea to release a shit port? Seriously, how?
Yeah, because they're just going to get hammered with refunds, aren't they? Yeah.
I mean, Arkham Knight was like a AAA, much anticipated game in a series that was critically acclaimed. You know, if any game was going to get away with it, it was that one, because people will overlook stuff if they love the franchise enough. People will, they'll be like, oh god, this is not exactly what I wanted, but it's close enough. People will accept close enough when it's something that dear to them, when they're that keen on something. Tales of Symphonia, not quite the same. It might hold a dear place in many people's hearts.
Well, this is probably why they did it, because they probably thought, we're only going to get a few sales from this. Just you over there, quickly port this and throw it over. That's probably what happened. I mean, anyway, screw that topic.
Just
fucking hell. Every time there always seems to be a shit port, but the good news is there are better ports coming out more than the shit ports now. Like I said,
I think
Dragon's Dogma was really good, and I would hope that Dark Souls 3 is good as well when that comes out.
Dark Souls 2 was alright, wasn't it? It was
Yeah. Dark Souls 2 was okay,
yeah. Did you know? Well, did you even remember that Dust 514 was a thing?
Yeah, you know what, bloke? Do you remember when we spoke? In fact, I think there's an entire hotfix dedicated to this, or at least we spoke about it in massive detail, because I believe we sat there and we said, what the fuck are they making a PS3 only shooter for when it's an MMO shooter, a massively multiplayer shooter, which it should be on PC? Do they not understand what PlanetSide is? It was popular at the time.
Universe
as Eve.
Yeah. Totally
it's
pointless.
An absolute clusterfuck of decision making there. Like, it would be like, hey, you know what? You know our game, right? Give me an example of a game that's PC only.
Godus Wars is PC
no,
only.
Please, please, no, please, please, no, please.
Well, I can't think of it. There's got to be some PC exclusives around. Any Paradox game, pretty much. No,
all right, well, that's actually quite good. Yeah, that's quite good. So a grand strategy game.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So Crusader Kings 2.
We all know that the console plebs, their brains melt when they look at grand strategies. They just start to dribble out there.
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to make a FPS version of this, where it's like Chivalry, but we're going to launch it on the PS Vita.
Yes. What a plan.
That's basically what has happened
What a plan.
with Dust. I mean, I don't know whether they got paid money by Sony. I mean, there was that game before, wasn't there, which was like a massively multiplayer shooter on the PS3, which people said was pretty good, but that died really quick as well.
What was it called? Black? Was it Black?
No. It was called. No, it wasn't Black. It wasn't Black, because I remember the thing with the guy where he's in the office drinking the coffee and he's like talking about the game, and it was like a promotional trailer for it. Somebody will probably tell us what it is in the comments, but yeah. It was a very strange combination when your entire player base for your game, your whole IP exists on PC. For you to then go, okay, here's an FPS, but it's console based on a PS3 of all things.
Yeah.
Your players don't play on PlayStations because they're hardcore, and I mean hardcore PC gamers of the hardcorest variety. They do not play on a PS3. So while some of them probably grabbed it, because it was supposed to connect together, wasn't it? You're supposed to be able to support with the ships. But I don't think that worked out as it was supposed to work out. But yeah, this was just I think Eve is and CCP, who obviously make Eve. They've been bleeding subscribers from Eve because of a couple of changes they made recently, I believe. But I think it is slowly declining now. It'll always be a game, Eve. Don't get me wrong; it'll always be a profitable one. But it's not one with like crazed amounts of subscribers. You don't need that in a subscription MMO. Yeah, it's only got a couple 100,000, if that actually anymore. I don't know. But they are making Eve Valkyrie, which makes way more sense, and that is a Oculus Rift title, which is you play as a fighter in the Eve universe, and guess what? You need a high-end PC to run that.
Yeah.
So guess what? Who will buy that?
You know what?
Oh yes, the players of Eve. So they put money into that, and also they sold. They had the Vampire Masquerades IP, and they were working on MMO for that, but they sold that to Paradox, I believe, and they've now got that.
This is a bit of a tangent, but I'm pretty sure the Oculus Rift released the first version whilst it was during the last month whilst we weren't doing hotfix because it was Christmas, and then my issue happened.
Yes, they got the pre-orders up for the retail version. Yeah,
I remember seeing a lot of talk about that, and a lot of people specifically complaining about the price and how expensive they thought it was, and how they thought it was stupid it was that expensive, and they expected it to be cheaper. We didn't get to talk about it at the time, but I cannot, for the life of me, understand why people thought the Oculus Rift, like the first public version, the first publicly available version, was going to be cheap. I cannot understand why people thought that. People were saying things like, oh, well, the DK1, DK2, the development kits, they weren't this expensive. Yeah, by all accounts, they were nowhere near as good. They weren't consumer products. They are for testing purposes. They are for development purposes.
And they were not. They were dodgy. Like basically, right? Yeah. It's not even that expensive. I mean, you could now conceivably, easily spend 500 quid on the monitor for a computer. The Oculus Rift it is 500 quid, 499, I think it was, or was it 399, something like that. For what you're going to get from it, it's not that bad. I mean, I think I will get the HTC Vive. That's only because I've got the ideal space for it. But that's going to be more. That will cost more because that fucker has got the Lighthouse system where it has motion trackers in the corners. So like I can put them in the corners of the shack and it can motion track me in the middle. That to me is amazing. Oculus Rift is more suited to stick it on your head and just sitting in your chair.
Yeah.
The HTC Vive is designed for movement, so that could be a bit crazy. But yeah,
the thing that got me was
that bad.
No,
it was like, whoa, this is expensive. But when you think about it, it's like, oh, hang on, it's
and
not
especially
really.
for the first version of consumer tech. I mean, I can only assume that people
early
complaining
adopters always pay.
Yeah, I can only assume that people who are complaining have never once in their lives thought about being an early adopter, because early adoption it's costly. It always costs a shitload. Like when you look at the first smartphones, hell, when you look at the first mobile phones, those massive brick fuckers, those giant ones that you only ever saw like rich old white people with.
My parents knew a guy who owned a transport company, and he had he's still got it. I've seen this thing. It's a briefcase. It is a fucking the battery is the brief. It's like a car battery for a phone.
I can't remember.
I mean, it must be worth some money now. It's like a collector's item, but it was in a briefcase. What the fuck? You open the briefcase, there's a car battery and a phone attached to it.
I'm pretty sure it was one of the... I can't remember which one it was. I think it was the BMW 8 series. The really old sporty one. The really kind of low slung thing. That had an
a
optional
really long
extra.
thing. Like, it's
Yeah,
really
yeah,
long,
but it was
looking
like a
massive
coupe
bonnet, like.
kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
That had an optional extra, which was a cellular phone. But it was an actual handset phone. Like, you know the old style ones with the curly cords? It was like that, and it sat next to the handbrake, and you had to pick it up. And that was £2,000 extra for that. Early adoption technology is always hellish expensive. It's always insanely costly because it's the first consumer ready version of that device. With the
Do you get
Oculus
this
Rift,
thing? You get this thing where you get it with PC components as well, where people will be like, "Oh, I'm not going to buy that component that's just come out because I'm going to wait for it to be cheaper." And then when that component is cheaper, the next newest component's out, and then they
yeah,
go, "Oh, actually, I'm not going to buy that. I'm going to wait for that to get
yeah.
cheaper." And they end up in this like thing where they never actually do anything, and they just end up with whatever they've got. I mean, with the adoption of mobile phones is obviously probably well. Actually, I think LCD TVs and flat panel TVs is maybe a better example where I mean, now you can get a 50-inch telly for like 200 quid. I know it might not be the best quality, but 50-inch for 299 quid, I think I've seen in Argos.
I remember
What the
when
fuck? You know what I
when
mean?
I got
That'd be
my
about 10 grand in the
yeah
fucking 2005.
that telly I've got downstairs is 40, 46, 48, one of the two, 46 I think it is. That if I'd wanted to buy that, like not even 4 years ago, I'd have paid like 3 times as much.
Yeah.
And it would have been worse as well. It wouldn't have been as good. The first version of everything, the first iPhone, the first non-Apple smartphone, like the
Our
first
fucking phone
everything.
has got a bendy screen. It's the first one with that. And it's
Yeah.
more than just the standard
And it-
fucking Galaxy phone, ain't it? Because
like
you're paying for a bendy screen.
It's got
Yeah.
because it's something that has not been done for that type of phone before. And you know what? You cannot complain about the first version of stuff, about the cost of stuff.
No.
Especially when you say things like, and this is the thing that got me when it was like, oh, well, it costs more than Development Kit 2. Development Kit 2 was shit. It wasn't a consumer product. It was not built for consumers. The resolution on the screen, like I forget exactly how it works, but like the overall resolution of the screen, or what you see, was shit compared to what the consumer version has. The components that made up the parts for the screen and for the motion were totally shit compared to the consumer version. The optic stuff in the Oculus Rift alone, it's pricier than some high-end camera equipment because it's stuff that has not been done before, or at least if it has, it's been done to a far lower standard in basically the attempt of making something that is good enough to sell. And now they've got something that is good enough to sell. Of course, it's going to be expensive. It's just
I've seen that as an argument where people were saying actually things like optical image sensors and God knows what for cameras are actually expensive to make and all this stuff. But you hit the nail on the head. The infrastructure and the manufacturing process is already there for that stuff. This shit's got to be invented for this. So it's like the cost goes up. It might not be as complicated as some people pointed out, but there's different things like the HTC. Well, they both have solved this problem, but there's a problem with like having the glass in your face, the optic, like the lens, which goes to the screen, where it can cause this thing where you feel like a ghosting effect. But they fixed that, but they had to invent a thing to fix it, and it's like, it's just madness.
like the DK versions of the Oculus had off-the-shelf parts. They've said themselves they had off-the-shelf parts, but then they said the thing is the off-the-shelf parts weren't good enough. We had to make stuff that was good enough. That's why it costs more, because we've had to make it ourselves. We've had to, basically.
I still think out of all of them, though,
versions.
a HTC Vive, like if you've got the space for it, is better just because it's got it's surely going to cost more because it comes with extra stuff.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'd have thought
it doesn't
so.
just come with an Xbox controller for a start. It comes with its own controllers. It comes with the sensors, the lighthouse things in the corner, but also the headset itself. I think this is a really neat feature. It's got a webcam in the front, which when you get close to a wall, it shows you the wall inside the thing. So it's like, oh shit, so you're not going to bang into stuff. The Oculus Rift doesn't do that. Yeah, it's a more advanced thing. It looks more advanced, but I mean, obviously, it's going to probably cost more. I'd be very surprised if it doesn't, or if it's the same price. I'll be very shocked. But I reckon that's going to be about 600 quid.
Yeah, I'd have thought so.
Anyway, Mr. Kirioth, can I do one last topic because this is something that I did enjoy and.
I tell you what, let's just finish off this one thing. Dust 514 is shutting down on PS3. Yeah. It's been active since 2013, May 2013. They are, however, doing another FPS CCP.
Okay.
But they're doing a prototype for a replacement FPS for PC. Again, set within the EVE universe, but it will
Yeah.
be built from the ground up in the Unreal 4 engine, and it will be on PC, not on PlayStation
Why
3.
didn't you do this first? Okay, I'll look forward to that. Honestly, I would
Yeah.
look forward to playing that.
Yeah.
I like futuristic sci-fi shit, so I'll play that.
Go on then, hit me.
Yeah. So we were going to talk about the WildStar has strangely got an expansion coming out. It's going to hit Steam, but that's all you need to know about that. The thing I want to talk about though was Grey Goo, because this is a game which is I
Yes.
enjoyed this game, but it's weird, and I've got some reservations with how they operate. Firstly, the name is absolutely shit for this. Grey Goo doesn't mean I know what it means, right? Grey. If you Google Grey Goo, it's the concept of this like AI cellular mass thing just taking over everything, right? Grey Goo, which is what Grey Goo's about. Yeah, the goo's out there, and it's just this massive unstoppable thing, and it just consumes everything and blah blah blah. But it sounds like World of Goo, and that is a kid's
It does.
physics game. Yeah, and it sounds shit.
And
like
you shouldn't have to
Grey
Google
Goo,
the name of a game for the name to make sense. That is
it
rule number
sounds like
one.
a kid's game. It sounds like a kidified like tablet game or something.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like what it actually is, which is a hardcore RTS game. But it's
and the thing is as well, even I've just said you shouldn't have to Google it, but even if you look at other games where it's like, I mean, Command and Conquer is pretty. You know what Command and Conquer is from the sound of it. You can get the gist of it. StarCraft, Warcraft. Maybe you don't know instinctively that there's some sort of like war thing. Well, you know there's a war going on in Warcraft, but you know what I mean. It's like you don't know instinctively that it's that's going to be an RTS, but you know that. I mean, StarCraft, you know that it's going to be some sort of sci-fi thing. You can tell that straight away. Warcraft, you know that it has a feel of kind of older technology, like some sort of maybe fantasy thing. You just get that instinctively from the name. Grey Goo doesn't mean anything.
It
doesn't mean anything
to
anyone.
Catchy as well.
It's just like a random combination of number and, well, not even number, of just two words. It's not even like Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, which at least is like sounds tactical in some way. Grey Goo just sounds like nothing.
Grey Goo doesn't. It's the biggest fuck up with this game is the name of it. It's stupid. The next thing they did, which I think is really fucking weird, is they have been banging on for like over a year about this big tournament which they just held at PAX South for $75,000 all in. So the winner got $10,000, and everybody else got different types of winnings. It obviously added up to that, but obviously they had to pay to put this on and all that stuff. Well, it turns out the whole point of this was for marketing, because as soon as the final finished, it was like, we have a trailer, and they put a trailer up for their free expansion, which nobody knew anything about. Yeah. Which it adds adds a faction which it leads you to believe is there in the single player campaign, because why is the goo running away? It's kind of like the Tyranids from 40k. It's like, why are the Tyranids in our universe? Are they running away from something even worse? And it's not the orcs before you start. Even worse than like them. What is going on? Because it's like, why is the goo running away? It's because of these guys, the whatever they're called, which is supposed to be like a race that is all three of the other races like together or something ridiculous. It had some decent ideas, Grey Goo did, for gameplay and stuff. But anyway, this marketing thing, really weird. The stream had about 150 viewers on it, and I'm like, wow, that is quite bad. They got Rotterdam and Hook, who are StarCraft professionals, they are StarCraft professionals, but Rotterdam's more of a caster, to do this tournament, to cast it. It looked really cheap. And I just was like, this is such an ill-conceived marketing attempt. I just thought it was a joke. I was like, wow, guys, what the hell is this? But obviously it was designed to advertise their thing, which then they show the trailer. And I'm like, yeah, this is kind of a massive waste of money to me. You didn't have to do your little PAX tournament, because you know what? The player base for Grey Goo has got to be absolutely non-existent, because it's such a, it is such a niche thing.
Yeah,
and it was
really
expensive
is.
for what it was. I thought it was okay. I think it was enjoyable, but it didn't have that much unit variety, and it was like, it pisses me off because I like RTS games, and I did enjoy Grey Goo, but I understand it was expensive for what it was. I'm glad that they're giving you a free expansion. That's pretty nice. You know, that made me go back and check it out.
Yeah.
But I don't know why they wasted money
marketed.
on
it's totally
that tournament.
It kind of baffled me, because there's no point running a tournament for a game that doesn't have attention to begin with. Frank, like, it sounds harsh, but they don't have a huge player base. They don't have a huge captive audience. And you need to have both of those things to make a tournament successful, and to make, to build up hype amongst the player base. If the player base is lacking, then you are broadcasting.
Nobody cares about your game.
Yeah,
because
you
number
broadcast
one,
your
they
game
don't
to no
understand
one.
the game. Number two, yeah, you're only broadcasting to your player base, who is no one. You're not actually getting any new people in. So your attempt to generate buzz to go, whoa, is our expansion is like crap and a massive waste of money. I say.
When you look at how much it would have cost and everything, just sending out preview copies of the expansion to YouTube channels would have cost a hell of a lot less, and would have gained more attention. It just would. It just would have done, because you can streaming to 150 people.
God. if they really wanted to do something like that, they could have done a show match with like a couple of StarCraft professionals against each other, and maybe had that promoted somewhere. Then maybe that would have got more eyes onto the game, because you got to think who actually wants to play an RTS game? Well, fucking people who play RTS games. You can't advertise something like Grey Goo, which is fairly difficult, especially in multiplayer. Actually, it was fairly difficult in the campaign to just the Grey Goo fan base, because it's not big enough. You got to think beyond. Yeah, it just annoys me anyway. I just wanted to throw that out there, because I do think the game's quite decent.
But that's the problem.
It's expensive, though.
It's a decent game, but I think this is just kind of indicative of an overall larger problem that a lot of companies and a lot of not just game developers or publishers or anything either, just in general, people see streaming is the new thing. Streaming is the big thing. Everyone's talking about streaming. Everyone wants to stream. Everyone's watching streamers. To an extent, that's true, but it's not as simple as that. Like, if we say I'm just Billy Random. You don't know me. You don't know who I am. Never seen me before. You know, I'm not part of Unit Lost. I haven't done HOTFIX or anything like that. I haven't streamed before. I just suddenly turn up, and I'm just on my Twitch channel, which I do technically have one, even though I just use it to spam abuse into the chat of the Unit Lost channel. I just turn up and I'm like, hey guys, check out my brand new game that I've made. And there's like 4 people watching. There's no point. There's literally no point. No one's going to see it. Yeah, I am doing the hip new activity, the thing that all the kids are doing, all the people are watching. I am doing the thing that everyone is talking about, but no one is directly talking about me doing it. They're talking about the medium as a whole. They're talking about the whole thing of Twitch and the whole thing of streaming as a one big thing. They're not talking specifically. When someone says, oh yeah, I always watch people on Twitch, what that means is they're watching established streamers play games on Twitch, or they're watching people that they've come from the YouTube channel of play games on Twitch.
Right.
They're
all
not
it is
just
is somebody
sitting
sat there and gone, hey, Twitch streaming. Whoa, people like streams. Yeah, let's do stream. And it's like, but and it's not like you've got people just like Kiri says who are just floating around going, I'm going to watch this stream. It's like, no, they watch the streamers that they like to watch, or the games that they want to see. They don't go, what is this highly obscure game? Oh, yeah, so I'll watch this.
They either go straight to the streamer that they always watch, or maybe the streamer that they watch whilst their main streamer is offline, or they just find the game that they want to watch. Like, if you've gone to Twitch to watch XCOM 2, for instance, just as an example,
which you should do.
Because you were top of the thing yesterday, for XCOM 2. By quite a bit as well. Jesus Christ. It was like 2,400 at one point. No, 2,437.
It's quite good.
I may have wrote that down just for future posterity. If you go to Twitch to go and watch XCOM 2, you want to watch the game. You want to see people play this new game before it comes out. Oh, I want to get a feel for it.
But you already know what XCOM is, though. This is the thing.
Yeah,
XCOM's a massive brand compared to Grey Goo.
You already know what XCOM is. And you're going to go straight to that game directory. You're going to go, I've come here for this. There I go, straight to it. This is the top stream. I shall watch that. You're not going to go to Twitch and go, I want to see what XCOM 2 looks like. What's this Grey Goo thing that has 150 people watching? No one does that. That doesn't happen. It's just not the way that Twitch works. It's, in a way, it's kind of a problem, because it means that some stuff doesn't get the attention it should do. Like, creative streams on Twitch, I still think don't get as much attention as they should, despite the fact that Twitch have tried to make it so that they do. You know, they've made changes to it.
I get, like, there are some fairly big creative streams, but it's generally like a massive streamer just cooking or something stupid.
Yeah.
I get about 600 viewers on the Warhammer thing, if I'm lucky. That's pretty good.
Which is pretty good. But it's it's more people. The fact that isn't like as big as some of the other stuff, I think, is down to the fact that the way people use Twitch is the same way that they use YouTube. It's the same way that they use any other number of things. They're going for a specific product. They're going for a specific game, a specific broadcaster.
Which is why League of Legends is always at the top, and it's followed by Hearthstone, and because everybody plays those games. It's like, hey, I want to watch somebody play it. That's how people get into to streams on YouTube. Anyway, Mr. Kirioth, I've got to go and get something to eat because talking of XCOM 2, I have to go and play
Gotta
XCOM
go
2.
and stream it. Yeah, well, I want to watch more of it because I can't get it till tomorrow because they only sent us one copy. Oh, mind you, I'm at home like 4 hours a day, so I suppose I can't really play it anyway. But that's not the point.
You can watch my pain. I'm gonna have a fucking.
The last
mission
mission yesterday was like, it was tense beyond words. Old Dennis the Menace. Oh Lord, he died though. He died. Dennis Worth.
But he gave his life like a hero.
He did.
Like an absolute hero.
Shot a viper in the head. Quality. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this has been HotFix again. It'll be back again next week. If you're wondering, like, just before we go, just very quickly, if you're wondering why it isn't appearing at 7 p.m. like it used to, the simple fact is that YouTube is deciding to take longer and longer to process videos as it goes on. I have no idea why it's suddenly decided to take a nosedive in terms of processing videos that are over an hour, but last week it got uploaded as soon as we finished, and it was set for 7 o'clock, and at 9:30 it finished processing to 360p. Now, that's not something we can do anything about, unfortunately, unless we record it at like 10 a.m. and hope that YouTube sorts itself out come like nearly 12 hours later. There's not really anything we can do. It will go live when it goes live. It will go live Thursday evening at some point. But if you're expecting it on the dot, it's just, I don't even know how we'd make it happen now. Because I don't know what's going on with YouTube, but it's doing it. It's done it before, but it seems to be constant now. I've seen loads of people complaining about the fact that it's taking ages to process longer videos. I just keep an eye out. It'll appear in your sub feeds anyway, and it'll appear on Twitter if you follow us, which you should do, because our tags are right at the bottom every single time, right there. Like I'm trying to move my hand into your frame, but that's not how it works.
Get out my frame.
You can't miss it. Come on next week. There'll be another
I didn't go.
It won't me. Look.
Entrapment.
Patreon, and we'll see you next time.
Toodaloo.